Can you imagine sending your 12-year-old son to a sleepover and then receiving a call saying that he needs to go to the hospital because one of the boys threw hot water on him and burned his skin? And the really sad part is this child's life will be changed forever, as well as the kids who threw water on them, because all of them are facing criminal charges now. Now the police had to get involved. This is wild.
How you doing, YouTube family? Today is Tuesday, March the 25th, 2025. It's your man, Big D, and I'm back with another one. I want to thank all you good folk out there that continue to show loyalty to my son and I. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Well, family, for those of you that have children or even don't have children, for those of you that have little cousins, little nephews, imagine hearing that your loved one went over to a sleepover, and as a result of that, he has become disfigured. That's right, family. This young man went over to one of a friends for a sleepover, and somebody badass child or children, because the brother said that the children's lives are going to forever be changed. This young man who is scarred for life, and the other badass little children that had a hand in this, all their lives are going to be changed forever, because them badass children going to get scarred. And guess what? I ain't got no problem with it. So now, I have a couple of questions. So, where were the adults that should have been supervising these badass children? Because I am sure that when I was a single dad and my son, had friends come over and what have you, best believe whenever a move was made in my house, I knew it. Let me tell you something. You couldn't take a dump in my house and I didn't know it. So you can't tell me that the adults that should have been watching these children, what were they doing? Where were they at? Because I know that it would take some badass children to put some water in a pot, or whatever they put. It had to be a pot, and put it on top of the stove and turn the stove on and let the water start to boil. So as an adult, y'all didn't see these badass kids up to no good, filling a pot full of water and putting it on top of a stove and heating it up. Where was y'all at? What was y'all doing? I got a host of questions. And because I don't know the answers, I'm going to come up with my own hypotheses, right? Okay, perhaps this was, could have been a single mom. And she allowed her badass little offspring to have somebody else, good child, come over. Because here's the thing. I don't know the young man that got scarred. I can only conclude that because he was on the receiving end of it, he got to be a somewhat decent child. So now, back to you, ma'am. Where was your ass at when your badass children was perhaps boiling a pot on the stove to scar this man? Were you in the room somewhere getting your cheeks clapped by Lil Dank? Maybe. Or maybe you got some adults who were just fucking irresponsible and they left the kids at home by themselves while they went out to the club. Or maybe even the adults were at home, but they was in the back room getting high and clapping cheeks. It's a lot of questions, that beg for answers. But the only conclusion that I can draw is that these badass children should have known better. Whoever raised these badass children, you didn't do such a good job. You didn't do such a good job, because it makes no sense for children who should be playing the video game or talking about, who they playing next Saturday in the football game. Because that's what I did when I was a child. When I was that age, my mama had me doing something productive. She ain't have a lot of money, but she made sure I was at the park playing some football. She made sure I was doing some type of karate or something, gymnast, something. Because my mama knew that an idle mind is a devil's workshop, especially when it applies to children. You have to keep your children busy, because if you don't keep them busy and distracted with things positive, them little badass kids will come up with all kind of mischievous little deeds. This is just an example. So yeah, you got a whole bunch of children's lives who finna be changed abruptly, especially this young man. This man gonna be scarred for life. Listen, it's already difficult now in the dating game. Women want dudes that look like damn Superman. You know what I'm saying? Look like goddamn Superman. Chiseled jawbone, the picture of fucking perfection, 12 inches of wood, make over $250,000 a year. Man gotta have all that. He gotta be flawless. And you sit up and tell me how this poor boy gonna navigate life when he becomes an adult, because you know he's gonna be scarred. And if he needs some type of reconstructive surgery, who knows if the parents gonna have the money? It's just causing problem on problem, because these badass kids didn't have no good ass upbringing. Couldn't have had no good upbringing. Because there's nowhere in the world that if these kids had a stable foundation and a good upbringing, their minds wouldn't be on no bullshit like, oh, let me go boil some hot ass water and throw it on the dude. If you know that you don't have the mindset, you don't have the finances, and you don't have the wherewithal to take good care of yourself, don't add no children to the equation. Ladies, don't be selfish and say, well, I like him and I know he really don't like me like that, but I'm gonna put a trap baby on him. Even though I know he don't want no kids, even though I know I told him I was on birth control and I lied, or perhaps I stopped taking my birth control, or I ain't took no birth control since birth control took me. Just lying. But at the same time, gentlemen, you got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself. You can't leave your future, your financial future, to happen chance to some woman that you know good and damn well all you want to do is obliterate her spleen. Because what happens is when you get sloppy, because she gonna be sloppy, you be sloppy, and next thing you know, now you got a child that done been brought into this equation that didn't ask to be here, and really and truly should not have been here, not at this moment in time, not until you two get it together, and you two may not never get it together. You may not never get it together as adults. So don't bring no children in the world being selfish. Very rarely do I hear men of any sort, whether they Pookie, Ray, Nook, Chad, Brad, John, whoever. I ain't never heard no man just openly say, oh, I want to just have me a baby. Now, men will go up in it raw and they'll spray up the club. They'll be reckless and irresponsible. But I ain't never just openly said that, hey, they want to have a kid like women. I've heard women say, and I'm thinking like, how the hell you gonna have a kid when your little dusty ass ain't even got your life together? Why you gonna bring a child into the equation? But in women's minds, that's the way to hold on to the man, to put your hooks in him. Listen, I know all too well about them trap babies. Know all too well. But fact is that it sounds to me that children were born born of a union of irresponsible people, because if these children have been raised by responsible parents, I just don't believe that they would have concocted a plan to boil some damn water to throw it on this dude, to throw it on this young man. Come on, family, we got to do better than this. Every day you come on the internet streets, it's always example after example after example of this kind of BS. But yet and still, women get tired of hearing men holding them accountable. They get tired of being shown and told about their where they can improve at. And the same go for the men. The men don't want to hear it either. The men that, you know what I'm saying, you ain't trying to do better. You choose to be a Pookie. You choose to be a LaDain. You are in control of your destiny and your future. And as a human being, whether you male or female, if you refuse to take accountability for your actions, and you so concerned with what about your problem? What about your problems? Listen, when you point that proverbial finger, you got four of them pointing right back at you. So you worry about cleaning up your house and let whoever worry about cleaning up their house. But don't add insult to injury by always want to, hold other people accountable, but when you refuse to hold your own self accountable. When you can take constructive criticism and and learn to take it and be better from it, that is the true mark of enlightenment. That is the true mark of becoming a person that is at least trying to do the right thing. But this is a shame, family. This is a shame. This young man's life is going to forever, ever be ruined and scarred. And he didn't deserve this. All he was trying to do was go over and visit his little friends and, hang out. Well, family, always remember, be more tomorrow than you were yesterday. Peace.